Good morning, MegaPodlings. It's Krazy Joe. It is Thursday night. It is the premiere night of Venom, and I got my ticket. I don't usually go to movies on premiere night, but my wife didn't want to go with me to see Venom. She usually goes with me to the big movies. So, I know you see these videos, she's not usually with me, but that's because I go to a lot of movies. But the big ones like, your Infinity War, your Solo, a Star Wars story, all the big ones, she usually goes with me. But she is not attending this one, so it just made sense to go opening night. That was the best timing. They have a 9:30 show, which is not too late, not too early. You go too early, you're dealing with kids. You go too late, I'm tired. So they don't have a 9:30 tomorrow. Tomorrow it's like after 10. So it was like, I guess opening night's actually the best night to go, time-wise. Got my refillable bucket. Now let me tell you what I think of Venom. A lot of people are giving this movie negative reviews. Haven't seen it yet, about to see it. I don't really like the idea of a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man. It's weird. I don't really like the idea of the Joker movie either. You're going to do a Joker movie without Batman? I think it's kind of dumb. That doesn't mean it can't work. I do like the director, Ruben Fleischer. I really liked Zombieland. The trailers for the movie have been really good. Good trailers. The Venom looks good. Special effects look good. Tom Hardy, good actor. I'm not going to hold Star Trek Nemesis against him, though I'm still bitter about that movie. Grr. A clone of Picard that looks nothing like Picard except he happens to be bald. Great. But here we go. Let's check this out. There's a school of thought. I don't know if you've heard this. There's a school of thought out there that Venom needs to be a hit in order for Spider-Man to stay in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, the people who believe that, their argument is, if Sony can make all the money elsewhere, they'll be content to let Marvel have Spider-Man. If this movie's a failure, then they're going to think, well, nope, we need Spider-Man, and they're going to take him away from Marvel. So that thinking, the fans who have that belief really are rooting for this movie to be a hit so that Spider-Man can stay put in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because their feeling is if Venom bombs, Sony's going to be like, sorry, we need Spider-Man, Marvel, and they're just going to take him away. Who knows what Sony's going to do, but I don't know. Let's go. Let's see if this is any good. Hope for the best. There it is. Let's go. Unbeknownst to me, I get a free Venom comic book. I had no idea, but I'll take it. So let's talk about Venom. I saw the movie. I really enjoyed it. I know the critics have been giving it a really hard time. I don't fully understand why. I think it's a good time. I thought the relationship between Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote was, quite frankly, great. The internal dialogue in Eddie's head was often hilarious, and quite frankly, it made the entire movie worthwhile. The movie's not flawless. It does have one of those rush job endings, which the original Iron Man is guilty of. The original Iron Man and the 2005 Fantastic Four are two films that I would compare it to, where you kind of get to the ending, and the ending all wraps up kind of in breakneck speed, like super, super fast. That's a flaw in the original Iron Man that is often overlooked. People just ignore that, but it really does have a rush job ending, which is why it's my least favorite Iron Man movie, quite frankly. I think people praise that movie too much. Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 really actually improved on the Iron Man franchise, in part because of the ending of Iron Man 1. It was just like boom, boom, boom. Hey, how'd you handle the freezing thing? Well, what freezing thing? It's just like super fast. Not really a well thought out ending. But I am going on a tangent right now. But my point is, Venom has one of those kinds of endings, like the original Iron Man and the original Fantastic Four, where it's just like, it just kind of boom, 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 over, done. And you're like, wow, that was quick. I really thought it was fun, oftentimes hilarious. It was it was a good time. It was a good time. Now, doing Venom without Spider-Man, not an easy task. Like, the two characters are very, very connected. So the question was, how are you going to make that work? I'm going to say they made it work. They really did. They made it work. It probably would have been a better movie if it would have been better if they had introduced it in Spider-Man. But what are you going to do? That's not what they did. We can't look at what they should have done. We got to take the product for what it is and say, okay, well, what do we think of this? So what I think of this is, I think it's solid. I really like it. It's better than a lot of the MCU movies, quite frankly. I would say it's better than Thor: The Dark World. I would say it's better than Black Panther, which is a movie that I think is very overrated. And it's a lot of fun. Now, I'll tell you, I went and looked on YouTube to see what some other people were saying about the movie. And I came upon a review. I don't know the reviewer's name. He's a guy I've never seen before. So it's, not someone whose channel I watch regularly. I've never seen this guy before. But the guy I was watching was complaining that he thought the movie was cheesy and that he would have liked it to be darker, but it was too cheesy. Well, I'll tell you, he's right. It is cheesy. It is absolutely cheesy. I don't see that as a flaw. I see it as a strength, quite frankly. Venom is an alien piece of goo that bonds with a dude, gives him sharp teeth and a long slobbery tongue, and then goes out and fights crime. I mean, how is that not cheesy? I mean, in the comics, it's not really so cheesy, but things work on the printed page sometimes better than they do when you translate them to reality. I don't see any way Venom is not cheesy. And I think the best way to handle a character like Venom is to kind of lean into the cheese and kind of, wink at the audience and say, like, hey, we know this is goofy. Just go with it. I think that's the best way to handle it. I think if you try to do, like, some dark, twisted Venom movie, it's really going to fall flat. And it's actually going to end up more cheesy. It's going to end up an unintentional cheese, whereas this is kind of like a, hey, we're having fun. Wink. It's that kind of cheese. So I think this worked better, and I thought that guy was, to each their own, but I thought that guy's opinion was, quite frankly, way off base. I don't see how you make Venom that it's not cheesy. But it's fun. It's kind of silly. It's entertaining. I liked it. I'd be happy to see a Venom 2. I'm curious to see where the Sony Spider-Verse movies are kind of fascinating, and I want to see where they go, and I'm really anxious to watch them develop. It kind of seems like a terrible idea, but hey, I'm from the Philadelphia area, and one of my favorite movies is Rocky. So, what can you say about us in this region? We love an underdog, and Sony's the underdog here. They're kind of, it's an uphill battle. I mean, can they make this work? It seems unlikely, but that just kind of makes me want to root for them and say, I'd like to see you pull it off. Let's see what you can do. And if Venom is the start, Venom's a good start. Here's what I think. I'm really curious to see the audience reaction to Venom. Critics obviously hate it. We know that already. Critics hate it. But what's the audience going to be like? Is the general movie-going audience going to accept the film or reject it? And that we're going to find out in the coming days. It already had a killer opening for Thursday, but we're not going to know for a few days if the audience has embraced it or not. But I kind of think it's going to be another Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, was torn apart by critics. Critics hated it, but audiences loved it. It was the #1 movie in America for like 3 weeks in a row, possibly 4 weeks in a row. I'd have to research that. But definitely 3 weeks in a row. It was the #1 movie in America. Made a killing at the box office. That's why with all the DC Cinematic Universe movies that are off the table now, like Man of Steel 2, they're not making a Man of Steel 2, of all the movies from the DC Cinematic Universe that they pulled the plug on, they're still doing Suicide Squad 2. And they're doing Birds of Prey, which is a spin-off of Suicide Squad starring Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. So you don't spin off and sequelize a film that failed. Suicide Squad was a big hit. And I remember at the time, there were a lot of articles written directly about Suicide Squad. There were a lot of articles written about the disconnect between critics and the movie-going public, because of how well the movie was doing with the public, but not doing well with the critics, and there were articles written about that disconnect. And I have a feeling Venom's going to be another one of these movies. I think audiences are going to eat this up. I think they're really going to dig it, because my audience that I saw the movie with last night were really into it, laughing at all the jokes and applause when certain characters showed up. I'm not going to give spoilers. The audience I saw it with last night really seemed into the film. And I'm seeing today a lot of reviews online where people are saying, don't listen to the critics, it's great. I'm seeing a lot of that on Facebook. So I have a feeling this is going to be another Suicide Squad where there's a big disconnect between what the critics think and what the actual film-going audience thinks. So that's my 2 cents on Venom. I enjoyed it. I say check it out. I think it's a really fun movie. Tom Hardy is great in it. And Venom, I'm telling you, it's the relationship between Venom and Eddie carries this movie. It is terrific. And seeing as it's basically a dual role for, what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Tom Hardy. It's basically a dual role because he's playing Eddie and he's doing the voice of Venom. So, man, he knocks it out of the park. He really does. I like Venom. I didn't know what to think going in. This isn't one I was really anticipating loving, but they won me over. They definitely won me over. So, keep wearing those pajamas.